What's up, everybody? Welcome back to our channel. I'm Bree.
And I'm Evan.
And this is Reality Check TV. Here's where we discuss some of our favorite reality shows to watch together as a couple. So if you love reality TV like we do, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you can get notified anytime we post a new review.
Expeditiously.
What's up, family? Yes, we are back for another episode. I know that we were gone for a week, but we back. We back. You know, we had to take care of some business.
Adulting.
More so me. I had a business work trip last week, so it kind of threw us off, but we ain't missed much, right? Last week's episode of Ready to Love was kind of boring, so we decided to go ahead and couple the two together. So here we are. How are you? I hope your week is starting off just right. All I am going to say is shout out to Alabama. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? We here for you. Anything to say?
No, we need to get right in. I feel like it's been a minute.
Yeah, and I got a lot of energy. You know, we started off the week really good. We started off the week really good. Hey, y'all know what I'm talking about. We started off the week really good. So I'm in a good black mood right now. So, should I say it?
I'll let her do it this time.
Let's get into it. Okay, guys. So we're going to, again, speed through last week's episode of Ready to Love. This is episodes, 4 and 5?
I believe so.
Or 3 and 4. I think 4 and 5.
I think 4 and 5.
It doesn't matter because it will be in the bottom of this video in the title. But last week's episode, like I said, it was kind of dull. Just a little bit. In this episode last week, Lee also goes out on a date with Red. Okay, so this is one of the key events from last week that I wanted to hit on, right? Like, we've expressed to y'all a billion times how we don't see it for Red. Red is a red flag. No pun intended. He definitely is. It was on my chart of people, the next person to go. And I just don't understand why he's here. I don't understand why he would even want to be a part of a process like this. But then again, because he is a narcissist and he likes the attention, having different women or having the opportunity to date different women, I think would be right up his alley. But the conversation between him and Lee was extremely uncomfortable. This was her giving him an opportunity to get to know him better. She made a comment about how she felt like he was a little, like, shy, like too laid back, and she wanted to kind of see more of the fun, energetic, and just the real personality of who he is.
And there's been other women that said that too, about he needs to perk it up a little bit. Right.
And this was his opportunity to do that, but instead the date started off very awkward. Nobody's talking. That's number one. So it was extremely
it stayed.
For that too, but they just weren't talking. Like, she was trying to give him, like, throw him a bone. He was not picking up on the cues. She flat out said that she wanted to see the real, like, him, wanted to see his personality and, like, you know, see the energy. And, like, he completely ignored that and just went off onto running off, like, his resume.
Red was interviewing.
No, I wouldn't say he was was he the interviewee or the interviewer?
He was the one being interviewed.
He was the one being interviewed.
Yes.
That's how he was, you know, packaging his answers.
So Red was talking about his career and all that stuff. You know, I think Lee took about 3 naps. She did. So bored and just talking about, dude, like, I'm really telling you what I'm asking you to do when you're just still
ignoring it.
But Red's. I mean, we're gonna get to it, but Red's the king of Dallas. So it's one of those things where you have to bow down to Red, and we're gonna get to that though too.
Yeah, no, though in this conversation or lack thereof, it is clear that he is, if anything, I feel like Lee found out that he is a horrible communicator. He clearly does not listen, but instead presents himself the way he thinks people want to see him, or says the things he thinks people want to hear. It was weird. We also found out just a little bit of him running down his resume. He does have a 9 to 5 working for the city or something. And I'm just like, he's a cornball, and he is a red flag. That's just what we can say about him. So last week's episode, they had a hold down on a Black-owned ranch, which I thought was super cute and very Dallas. I love a good theme. I've said this before. Y'all know I love a good theme. So this was just an opportunity for everybody to kind of mingle. And, they do this every season, y'all, a couple of times where there's like these group events. And everybody's kind of like pairing off, trying to get to know everybody. This is also the first time that everybody is meeting Kat and Chris, our new cast members from the week prior. Both of them are very attractive people. They are so far so good with me. I don't know what category to put. I'll put them both in the green category. They haven't said anything that's been a red flag just yet for me. Okay.
Okay, so at the hold down, there's really only 2 things that are worth mentioning. The first one is Red and Unique. And as you guys know, within the past episodes, Red has been still hurt. His pride, his ego has been yanked by Unique. To give y'all a quick rundown, Red is a DJ / comedian, but not funny, but comedian. And he is still kind of upset that Unique says he has a thought job. Red wasn't offended, and he claims, well, Unique.
You said he wasn't offended?
I said he claimed he was offended.
Oh, okay.
And he said, Unique, well, that's kind of hypocritical because you're a producer or something like that with entertainment. So if I'm a thought, you're a thought. And ever since that, they kind of it's been one of those things where they don't see eye to eye, really don't be speaking. But prior to talking to Unique at the hoedown, Red made a comment talking about, well, it's, I believe the girls were leading that day. I believe so.
Yeah, they were.
So due to the girls, it's up to the girls this day. Red want to make his mission, I guess, try to make nice with Unique maybe, or just try to get on her good side. I don't know. Trying to salvage something.
I don't think so. I think that it was once again trying to approach her and be very aggressive, to be quite honest. I feel like he was the reason. What I feel now that we're removed from Red, I feel like he was going to her to question her about how dare you not like me, right? So the fact of the matter is they had this in their awkward interaction the first night, right? The first time that everybody meets, when this comment was made that about the whole thought job stuff, right? He didn't like it. Okay, next. They have the conversation again. He approaches her again about it. I think they went out on a date, maybe. And that's where they talk. Or they were somewhere. This was like the next episode.
It looked like it was like a bar or something like that.
Yeah. It was the next episode. And he brings it up to her again.
Yep.
This time he's trying to like call her out. Awkward. It was at that point I felt like it was deaded. Right? They should never had that conversation. Once it was clear that there wasn't an attraction and there was a little bit of both parties felt a little skeptical about the other person, I think we kind of just can leave it there and then move on. But that's not what he decided to do. I feel like he only approached Unique at that time to try to call her out. Less of trying to say, well, maybe I'm misunderstood. I want you to know that's not, if that's how I come off, or this is what your assumptions are of me because of my job, like I'm different. And if that's really what it was, like, right? Like if he really was interested in her, getting to know her, and felt a way that she did already write him off because of his job, I feel like there's a way to come to her correct. But that's not what he decided to do. And I think it's all about the way that he talks to her and his tone. And she picked up on it because he is a narcissist. And she called that out in this conversation at the hold down because, again, it was him approaching her and he was like, yeah, I just want you to know, like, I don't like negative energy and or negative vibes. I don't like negative vibes, and like I don't want to be drained of my energy. And me and Unique, like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't understand. Like, we haven't been talking. We don't have a connection. Why do we need to continue to beat a dead horse? Like, you can't possibly still be talking about the thought job comment.
I think he's still.
No, I'm saying sarcastically, that's what it was like. We still can't be there. Yeah. That still can't be the problem. Yeah. But he was butthurt. And it was his way to say, like, you should want me. You should talk to me. Do you know who I am?
And I think too, I really think that's kind of the main part. He wanted to boost himself in front of her, trying to make himself look bigger than what he is. Right. Because, he went on this brigade talking about, I done stuff with the Dallas Mavericks, NFL, like, blah, 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 blah. He says, my name good in this city. I'm the king of Dallas.
I'm the king of Dallas.
And we ain't never heard your name before.
And Unique's like, I don't like, bro, like, what? He's like, you heard about me. I said, wow, you heard about me. Very early 2000s. That was weird. Like, I was like, what is going on? And Unique called it out in that moment. She was like, yeah, it's giving narcissist. And that really made him mad. That really made him mad. And I was like, yo, like, you are proving her point. And I do love the fact that she was able to, pull his card early and see right through him. Because I did feel like at the very beginning, some of the women, including a Janelle, was starting to like overlook a lot of the red flags.
Well, I'm glad you said that because that seems interesting. Because at the hoedown, I really didn't see Janelle around him. Her focus really was just on Herbert and Q.
She did it at
all.
So
I guess her attraction to him or whatnot fell off. I guess as Herbert and Q started making their marks more. Right. So after her, who was his other connection? Who else?
For Red?
Yeah. What other woman?
Kira, right?
The cheerleader?
Yeah. Or did she kind of fell off too.
She fell off with him, yeah.
I don't believe that Red had really any other like real
outside of
connection. Yeah. And let me not say real. Like it's still too early, y'all. Like we can't say who got real connections, but I'm gonna say y'all know the very odd part about Ready to Love. Odd, but I also love it, is that they also still live their day-to-day life. Like, it's not like a reality show where they're all living in a house and that they're all just like, fighting for each other and all of this like typical relationship reality shows, right? Hence why we watch it. We like the fact that it's realistic, where in our day-to-day lives, we go out on dates, we meet people, this is how it happens, and we still go to work the next day. Like, that's just real life, right? So I do like that aspect of the show, but as a viewer, there are a lot of incidents where things are being left out because we don't see their text conversations,
their phone calls outside.
Yeah, we don't see the phone calls,
or if they possibly meet up outside.
Right, and go into each other's houses and all this other stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff that we don't get to see because they are living their everyday life. So I feel like we don't get the full picture, because it was like one episode, Janelle was all up on Red. She was the only one. And I was trying to figure it out then, because he looks the way he looks. But then the next episode, this episode, she's really tight with Q and Herbert. And I knew she had a connection with Herbert, but I didn't think that it was where it is now. Right? So clearly we missed something. So the one little connection that he had is now gone. And then I think him showing his ass in front of everybody at the hold down with Unique was just really a bad taste.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, he is a clown. And I peeped that episode 1. He's a clown. So he gotta go.
So the second scene we have at the hold down that is worth talking about was our favorite 50 Shades of Grey man, Marvin, having a conversation with Lee. And as you guys may know, this conversation took its turn, which it was going to take its turn, in which Marvin wanted to let it be known about his sexual fetishes. And I don't know how you guys feel about it. I really felt Lee was sitting there like...
She was scared. Like,
what the hell? Like,
she was really scared.
How does it go from getting to know you to you opening...
She was scared.
Opening your dungeon up.
Yeah, this nigga sat there and told her that he has an ass fetish.
Mm-hmm.
He has things that's under his bed, and I wrote this down. He said that he does forced orgasms.
The description he said for forced orgasms is when the woman gets her orgasm and she is pretty much stranded. She can't run. Like, she's bounded by something. And she just has to take it.
I don't want to judge anybody and like fetish shame, It's not for me. And it seemed like it wasn't for Lee. She did not sign up for that. My biggest issue with Marvin, and why I said he would be next to go, right? And so far we've been right, is because, yes, that's your life, but I feel like any man that leads with sex is giving creep for me. To be honest with you, I said the same thing about old girl, Tequila, when she was talking to Phil.
To eliminate it.
I don't agree with leading with sex and conversation when you're getting to know somebody.
Nah.
I just don't agree with it. When you are dating, I just don't feel like that should be where you start. I don't. I think it speaks volume when you do start there.
That should kind of be when y'all kind of get a little bit more comfortable. Maybe when y'all start having conversations about past relationships, maybe that's when that comes in a little after that.
And I also think that there's a way to not just
dive right
dump it all on somebody's lap, right? Like, what he said in this conversation was a lot. I feel like there's a way that you give like a little bit of information in how you answer questions. And we gonna get to the best way to ask questions too.
Well, he felt like he was turning her on.
And I don't...
I truly feel he feels like when he leads with that stuff, I truly do feel like he feels like he's turning somebody on.
Wow. Really?
There's an MO with anything that comes out your mouth.
I don't know.
There's a reason for it.
I think that he gets turned on by making women uncomfortable. Because it was clear that she was very uncomfortable. And every woman that he's talked to so far, with the exception of Unique, everybody has been kind of like, I am very cautious about what this is, but I'm intrigued to, like, I want to give you a chance. So please, like, continue to, talk to me, but like, proceed with caution. And he's not doing that. And so I'm going to take it as, I think he has a fetish with making women uncomfortable. Even when it came to the whole forced orgasm thing, that's the only thing that I could think of, is that you have this very dominant, and that's what he is, nature about yourself, and you get off on making women uncomfortable.
Well, I wouldn't say uncomfortable. I would say get off by feeling like you have control.
Well, when in conversation, I guess, is that more so what I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know. That's my theory. I am not a sex therapist, so I can't speak to this, but it gave me bad vibes, and not necessarily because of your lifestyle and what you're into, but more so because of how you communicate it with others. And he just doesn't have much coof about himself, is my problem. So, y'all, long story short, guess who ended up in the bottom? Who we said? Red and Marvin. I said that. And guess who left? Red. We said that.
How dare y'all?
We said that.
How dare y'all send the king of Dallas home?
We said that, okay? And so far, we've been doing really good, babe. We predicted all of the guys so far. They've been going the way that we've been saying. And shout out to Ready to Love, because we've had issues with y'all the last few seasons because we felt like you guys were obviously keeping certain people around just to shake up the table, to start some drama. But it doesn't seem like you're taking that route this season, and I appreciate that. It makes it more genuine when, you know, it's obvious, why is this person here? You know they don't have a connection. You know they're problematic. Why are we keeping them here? But good kudos for them, because I really thought that they were going to take the dangerous route and keep Red around for a while.
Off with his head. Go home.
So let's fast forward into this past week's episode, and it is now in the guys' court. They are going to be eliminating a young lady this episode. So the task this week is to get to know your connections, non-negotiables, which I felt like was such an important conversation, and it was a good conversation starter. Yeah. I love the fact that that was the task, to really get to know that person and to kind of see where their head is at, expectations, and, you know, what are their non-negotiables. And let
me add to, a lot of people do not have those conversations early.
They do not.
They can save so much time, so much heartache, you know?
They do not.
So shout out to them making this part of this process.
Yes. I will say, y'all, side note, we promise we will do a video for what we believe are good conversation starters when dating somebody, when trying to pursue somebody. What does that look like? Because I don't believe that people are having conversations or asking the questions we should be asking the first few days. Okay, so Q and Herbert go on a double date with Janelle and Kat. These two women are both Herbert's connection. Yeah. So this was an opportunity for him to have them both at the same place at the same time and really dive in, get to know their non-negotiables. And as soon as Janelle came up, she like, I ain't heard from you, talking about Herbert. So we find out that, you know, he's not texting back. So you're one of those, Herbert. Okay. He's not texting back. And then he had his special way of going around the conversation. When she tried to bring it up, he was like, oh, you really look beautiful today. Like, really?
That's all you can say.
You gonna derail this conversation?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we see you. We see you. So really quick, Janelle talks about, well, I'll start with Herbert. Herbert's non-negotiable is having kids. He's really passionate and really serious about having kids. So if a woman does not want to have children, it's going to be a no for him, which made Kat's ears perk up because she's kind of on the fence. She doesn't really know if she does or if she doesn't. She said if she does have kids, I guess that's great. But if she doesn't, she said that's a little bit better. So take that for what it is. And I think when you are, what is she, 32? 33. I'm not saying that you can't change your mind later, but this is what I mean when it comes to doing some grown people dating. That type of stuff, let's not even play the game like I'm going to try to change your mind.
Right. So
let's not do that.
She was better knowing you coming on this show. Have your answers.
Yeah. And she was honest, though. Mm-hmm. So she was looking at it like, this might not go that far.
And the kid thing, too, is something nobody should waver on. If you know you want kids and that person does not, don't try to change their mind. It's not worth it, y'all. Because if they have kids, they're probably going to resent you because they're going to feel like they did it for you. So, you know, don't waver on your non-negotiables. just because because like I said, it's not even gonna be healthy trying to change somebody's mind, trying to change who they are, because they're not gonna feel comfortable. And like I said, it's gonna lead to resentment down the road.
Right. Right. I completely agree, especially when it comes to the kid thing and the family thing as a whole.
Mm.
Let's not even play this game. Let's just cut our losses. Q had a really good non-negotiable. He said he wants someone that is emotionally intelligent. That's one of mine. I have a bunch of non-negotiables. Yes. And this is one of them. This is very important. However, I do wish that he would have elaborated a little bit more.
Right.
For the people at the table, right? So make sure, again, we're all on the same page. I know what emotionally intelligent people, how they move. I know what they look like. I know the decisions that they make, and I know what that means. Not everybody else got the same definition of words, right? And so to make sure we all on the same page, I'm gonna be very, very specific with you. Janelle mentions how her non-negotiable is she wants somebody that's ambitious. So, right. So somebody that's not complacent. She always wants to have the mindset of, wanting to be better, wanting to do better, wanting more. And she would want her partner to share the same beliefs as her. Kat mentioned, actually Kat didn't mention her non-negotiable. I don't remember Kat mentioning her non-negotiable. So the four of them play pickleball. And guys, did y'all know what pickleball was? Have y'all ever experienced never hearing about anything in life? Then one person brings it up and you're like, what is that? I've never heard of that. And then once you leave that conversation, all you hear is about that one thing that you just had found out. That's what just happened to me. I was on a work trip and my coworkers was talking about pickleball. And I was like, what the hell is pickleball? And now they playing pickleball. I had no idea. That's story time with Bree. I just wanted to point that out because I was just like, now we just going to see pickleball all over the place. Whatever.
It's low-key popular.
Is it really? I had no clue. No clue. So Herbert and Janelle take this opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation about the whole him not texting back. Like, she was very, it was a turnoff, I should say. Like, it was alarming. I'll say that. That's the better word. It was alarming because she's like, I'm having these different connections and other guys are texting me back, but I want to talk to you. And I want to be able to spend the time with you, but you're not giving me anything back, which is making me feel like you're losing interest. Like, how am I supposed to know you're interested? And he had his aha moment. I was happy with the way that she articulated it because when it comes down to it, that's what it is. Like, I feel like a lot of times in this day and age, people do not know how to date anymore. People really do not know how to communicate anymore. Having conversation and socializing with other people seems to be more of a hurdle nowadays, especially with dating. And so if you are not pursuing me, if you are not courting me, how am I supposed to know you like me? You're not texting me back. You're not calling me back or whatever. You're not taking the initiative. How am I supposed to know what your intentions are? How am I supposed to know how you feel? Because we don't know each other personally yet. We're trying to get to know each other. So how am I supposed to pick up on these clues?
Well, I feel like, to be honest with you, communication is a great way to get your answer early about people.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real. Like, I don't believe in that shit. Like, I'm too busy. I'm sorry. I don't believe in that. Like, all of us go to the toilet. We be on our phones. Like, people be on their phones. Don't let them fool you. And my thing is, it literally takes, 10 seconds to maybe say, hey. Or, hey, how's your day going? Like, I don't believe that shit. People literally want to make time for what they want to make time for. Like, I was talking to one of my homegirls this week, and I asked her how her day's life going, and she said it's trash. I was like, define trash. She said these dudes don't communicate. She's like, these dudes really feel we're talking just because we may text twice a week.
That's big facts. She ain't never lied.
And I said, what?
She's never lied. She's never lied. These men they're not pursuing, they're not, and you know what it is? They don't know how to talk. They do not know how to talk because the only thing you know how to do is what's up or hey, what you doing? Mm-hmm. The what you doing? What you got planned today or tonight? Like all of that stuff, it's like there's no substance, there's no conversation. Like you're not giving me anything. And it's one of my biggest pet peeves. Oh my God, I'm so glad I am not in the world of dating right now.
But y'all, you know, when I say that, the whole communication thing, like, believe people of who they are. Like, if they're really into you, they're gonna text you all day. They're gonna text you whenever they get the chance. They're honestly gonna try to be on the phone with you all night if they really want to get to know you, really into you. Like, there's a lot of lackadaisical, lazy people out here. A lot of them have this entitlement where they feel you should be hitting them up first.
Yes.
Oh, if somebody comes to me saying, well, you know, I feel like communication is kind of lacking. Like, what's with the inconsistencies? Why don't you hit me up? Like I said, that's people.
Yeah, bro.
That's people's mindset. They say, "Why don't you hit me up?" They don't believe in a two-way highway. It's like you should be hitting me up.
Yeah.
But I think it's funny because I said to my homegirl, long story short, I said when she told me that these dudes really think like, you know, talking twice a week means they're going somewhere, like they're talking, dating, whatever. I said, you know, it's crazy. These dudes literally will have A1 communications with their homeboys, but with the woman, oh gosh, you may. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but you know,
they don't know how to talk. They don't know how to talk. I agree with you. So I do appreciate Janelle raising the flag now, having the conversation now, and addressing the issue now to make him aware. Because some people also handle it like, well, then I'm just not gonna text you back, and I'm gonna just ghost your ass. In this scenario, she could have just focused on her other connections. And that's the thing. You're in a process too. This is a little bit different where time isn't necessarily on your side.
Right.
You know, you have to get in and make those connections as soon as you can. And you know, at a healthy pace because you want it to be genuine. But there's other dudes here that is trying to get her attention. And so you'll get lost in the sauce. So keep playing. And I feel like that is a representation of real life. And a lot of times men don't realize that. Like, there's others. I don't have to talk and wait for you to respond. And I'm also not going to beg you to have a conversation with me or to respond back to me. But they talked. He said that he was having a difficult time with the process as far as like dating multiple women. He claims he has never been in a situation with dating multiple women. We'll pretend like, you know, he's telling the truth. I'm not going to debate that. Okay.
That still not excuse for not texting.
It's not. And he did say he accepts it. And moving forward, he is going to apply pressure because he recognizes she does have other connections. And so he needs to make his intentions clear with her. So then next on the list was Chris and Aries. They had a date at Chris's house. This is Chris with the pretty teeth, African Chris. Is he Nigerian? He's Nigerian.
I think it's Nigerian.
Yes, he's Nigerian. Nigerian Chris. So Aries comes over to his house. He has a chef. It looks very nice. It's romantic. She loves it. Blah, blah, blah. They talk about their non-negotiables. And hers is the person needs to be family oriented. It has to be a person that is able to integrate with her family, her existing family now, because she has 2 boys. And so having like a father figure or somebody that's good with children is really important to her.
Yep.
Chris also has a daughter. He has 1 child. And so for him, it's pretty much the same thing as far as being family oriented. But then he also asked and said that his non-negotiable is if he's going to date a woman with children already, that there has to be a healthy relationship dynamic between that mother and the father of her children. Because he don't want the extra drama, which is understandable.
Yeah. And, definitely understandable, because the thing is, it's just so draining dealing with bullshit. Like, just imagine, you're dating somebody, and I'll be honest with you, a lot of guys, when he talks about the drama, a lot of these, I guess, fake dads, a lot of them get in their feelings when a new man is in their kid's life, their old partner's life. They're stepping up, doing what they need to do, being a role model. And there's a lot of envy, jealousy, all that stuff. And you're jealous because you decided not to be what she needed you to be, and somebody else stepped up to do that.
I mean, I think that's one aspect of it. I think even when the woman, the mom, is not even dating, there's nobody in the picture. I think even coming into a situation with a single parent, and there's already tension between the other parents and that person, I think it's a thing, and there can be so many reasons as to why. Yeah. So for me, I would think, well, I don't date people with children now, right? Once I get to a certain age and a different time period and everything else, maybe. I just know for me, it would be important that there is a healthy relationship dynamic between that guy and the mother of his children. Yeah. And I feel like it speaks volumes as to who that man is, who the type of person that he chose to have kids with, how his communication works between him and his the mother of his children. Like, those are just things to pick up on. But I also feel like there are nuances to situations. Maybe it could be a situation where she does try to co-parent with the father of her children, but he is a complete asshole, right? But she tries to do that. I think that's what it is all about as far as getting to know somebody. So you can just kind of see for yourself what they're dealing with and kind of make a decision off of that. So I wouldn't completely write somebody off just because there may still be tension with the other parent. Yeah. I don't know. I think every situation is just different. That's all I'm saying. But it is a big one for me because I don't do drama. Wouldn't do baby mama drama. That's not how any of this works. So while they're having this conversation at dinner, Chris brings up that both of his parents are deceased, which was really sad. And it was a very emotional moment. He talks about how he lost his father, I believe, when he was at a very young age. And he recently has lost his mother in his adult years. And he got very emotional because he said that seeing Aries talk about her sons, it just reminds him of the love and the connection that he had with his mother. I feel for him in this situation. Words cannot express, or there's nothing I can possibly say to relate to that situation. And my heart goes out to him for that. But I do think that it was a lot in that moment, right? Because Aries, she was very receptive to it, but I could tell that she was also taken aback. Yeah. I do feel like it was out of nowhere. But again, with this show, you got to be careful because maybe they have had these really deep conversations off of camera, and maybe there was something cut out in this scene, but I did feel like it was emotional overload. I do. And for me, if they hadn't had all of these deep conversations before this scene, and if nothing was cut out in this scene, then I do feel like for me, if I was Aries, I would have, it wouldn't have been a red flag, but I just would have been at pause just to try to get some more information about where he's at emotionally. Because to me, that was a lot. I don't know. I just felt really weird about it, guys. And I feel horrible for feeling that way. But I don't know. I don't want to say that it was disingenuous. So I don't know. What did you feel about it?
I feel it put her in a position that she wasn't ready for yet.
Yeah.
Like, came a little too soon. She didn't expect that. And then I do not expect it. I'm trying to figure out a great way to react to show you that I'm receptive and I'm listening to you and I do care.
Yeah. Yeah. It was emotional overload. That's what I would say.
So the next scene we have is with Marvin and Unique. For their date, they go horseback riding. And after some riding, he then takes her to a surprise picnic. I think one of the most interesting things he said was for his non-negotiable was kids. Like, he's so determined to have a son. And, to each his own, everybody has their preferences. I guess, he wants a son. Could be, like I said, a personal reason. Marvin really hasn't talked too much about his family, like mom or dad or anything. But I just find it interesting why he's pushing so much for a son. I'm
sorry, not to cut you off, but to speak to that really quick. I just think it's so funny when people, especially adults that know how biology works, it's funny when they like place an order for their kids' genders. Mm-hmm. I think it's very weird. I think it's extremely weird. I don't understand that. Like, this isn't McDonald's. You don't get to run up to the drive-thru and say, hey, I want this. That's not how any of this works. So I guess in his mind, because you're right. At first, he says that his non-negotiable is having kids. She then asked him, like how many again? And he said 2, minimum. Mm-hmm. 2 is the minimum. But then he says, but I have to have a boy. Mm-hmm. By any means, like, regardless, it has to be a boy. I also feel like that's a red flag. When you are so determined to have one sex or one gender by any means necessary, I just find that to be so alarming to me. You want to have a boy and you're so determined for what? And so if you was to have girls, what does that mean? Right. Will you not then be emotionally available to them? Or, is there a lack of respect? Like, what does that mean? Does your woman, your wife or girlfriend or whatever, does she have to keep trying until you get a boy? Right. Like, I want to understand that. And I don't like the fact that Unique let him bypass that. Because I would have wanted to stay right there. Like we need to talk about that. I don't like that.
And so a little bit after the conversation, what just took us all off guard was, I guess Unique was feeling your boy Marvin a little bit, to the point where she tried to hide it and put her hand in front by the camera and, give Marvin a little sugar,
Did she say a little sugar? Mm-hmm. Sorry, okay. Okay, Dad. That's very old school.
But, from Marvin talking about kids, they have their little kissing moment. I think Marvin should be at pause because Unique is actually on the fence about kids. And here Marvin talks so, I don't know if you want to call it passionate about having a son, which is a child. This pretty much doesn't seem like it would work. I mean, she's on the fence. To be honest with you, when you're on the fence about something, to be honest with you, it kind of means you shouldn't do it, or it's a no, because you're not confident in doing it the first time around. I just couldn't do it. I'm one of them people where, like I said, if I have a non-negotiable, a preference, or something that really means something to me, and if you're on the fence, I'm just taking it as a no.
So really quick, we have another group date. We have Morier. Am I saying his name right? I'm going to ask you this every time. we have him. We have Jess, a.k.a. Jessica. We have Chris, Herbert, Kira, Sierra, and they all go to an improv class. I thought this was adorable. Would love to do this in this scenario because this was an opportunity to be in like fake scenarios when expressing your non-negotiable. So I thought it was really cute.
And I feel this was set up by Morier. I believe this was.
Yeah, he was the one that set up the group date. Mm-hmm. But it was cute. And so we got to find out a lot of everybody else's non-negotiables. And I know Morier mentioned that his non-negotiable was health. I don't like how everybody was looking like, really? Because Kira and Morier was partnered together, and she was like, oh really, health is your non-negotiable. I saw what you was doing. That was shady. Did not like it. But he said yes. because of his family history, because of, Black people in general, with whether it's hypertension, diabetes, all of these things that we know that affects our community, he wants him and his partner to be on top of their health and like really take care of their body. Kira mentioned how God is a non-negotiable for her. Sierra and Herbert find a commonality here because they both want kids, and that's both of their non-negotiables. So I think their connection is starting to get a little bit stronger as well. Jess and Chris, when they did their little pairing, I don't know, it was a little odd. I don't know if they were still feeling each other, but Chris mentioned how his non-negotiable is basically somebody that finds solutions. He mentioned how he wants his woman to be able to find a solution. I don't know if he meant it in that way or if he means like together we find a solution.
I took it as together we can problem solve.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And with Jessica, she mentioned how for her a non-negotiable is somebody that can take care of her if something does go wrong.
Right.
And so having that sense of security basically is really important to her. So everybody, again, had fun. I thought this was a really good idea to be able to articulate and, talk about y'all's non-negotiables. Yeah. So I thought it was a good idea. Okay, so the real heavy scene for me in this episode is the date between Kira, Unique. I was about to call her Eureka. Unique and Q, right? So they all go boxing, and we know off the bat these two ladies are not Q's connections, right? Like, we haven't really seen him interact with them. So it was definitely different. But he wanted to keep an open mind and to be able to get to know them because maybe he would find a connection in one of them. So he first starts off having a conversation, a one-on-one with Unique. And the topic of healing comes up. And I'm going to just say this really quick, guys. I'm not going to give a play-by-play about their conversation. All I want to say, and the only thing that I want to address, is from the time that Unique got into this process, the time that we was introduced to her up until now, it's very obvious that her last relationship, her ex-husband, was toxic and probably an experience that was a little traumatizing for her. It's clear that there are still some things that happened during that relationship that she is still healing from, right? But here's the thing. I am one to believe that when you truly heal from something, it's a very long process, right? And everybody's healing process it looks different. And it is different. There's no time attached to it, right? Like, you cannot sit here and tell me that you can only go through the healing process for 3 months and then move on. That's not how any of this works. Everybody's healing journey is different. When you meet an individual that is really on the path of healing, you recognize it, you see it, they talk, they move different, they're able to pick up on things earlier, the way they communicate, their honesty, them being genuine, all of those things are just different. Versus somebody that slides stuff under the rug or uses the phrase moving on instead of actually dealing with it. When you heal, you have to actually deal with it, right? And really go through the process. And I don't think that it's fair that all of the guys, I feel like, have put Unique in this box of her still being bitter and holding on to her old relationship. I feel like there was just a different way to express that. Do I think that there are still some things that she wants to be able to work through internally? Absolutely. But I think she's honest about that. And so for anybody to think that they're going to get into a new relationship and you're an adult with a past and think that you're completely healed and you're completely like squeaky clean from any past relationship that you've experienced, I think is unrealistic. Because sometimes it takes for you to get into a new relationship to understand, hey, this is a trigger, or I recognize this. It's not because I'm still harping something old. It's just that now my eyes are open and my ears are open and I'm fully aware. And now I'm able to pick up on things that I wasn't able to before. So I don't know. I just didn't really like the judgment. I see where they're coming from. Because this is a fast process and you do have to kind of get in where you fit in and make your connections fast. And so you don't have time to take the risk all the time with people. So if you see something that is alarming, you do have to quickly respond. But I do think that in another time, in another environment, in another place, Unique didn't do anything wrong with being honest about where she's at in her healing journey. That does not mean that she is not ready and open to a new relationship. So I would just hopefully that message gets out there to her. And I really think that she seemed like she was a good person. I feel like she was very intuitive. She was very aware. And very smart. And so I just don't think this was the best process for her with this group of guys. And that's okay. That's okay.
Not for the speed everything's going.
Right.
So in the next scene, we have Chu and Kira. However, they're one-on-one. And this is going to go back to a couple episodes. I want to say when the women were together, they were questioning Q on if he dates white women, if he dates white women only, all that. And, Kira brought it back up. She wanted to know, does Q date white women? In which Q responded saying, no, I've never dated a white woman. And I believe, too, she brought up, what about Hispanic or, other ethnicities? But Q was holding his stance, talking about, he dates black women. For me personally, I know there was a scene back where when he was questioned, there was a scene with him and Tequila, whatever her name was, where she asked him in the first episode, does anybody seem like your type here? Or, you feel like yourself, possibly clicking with anybody? He was like, no. And I kind of felt like they took that the wrong way, jumping to, oh, he dates, white women, or he dates outside black women. I don't know. I didn't think that was fair on him. I'm just still trying to get where that came from.
Well, what's interesting is Kira is a very specific type of woman, right? I think she has a different type of personality that we all recognize. We've all seen Black people that align with kind of how she presents herself and her personality and just, the way she talks, the way she carries herself. And it was, I'm not going to lie, when she first brought it up a couple of episodes back, I was like, ooh, wow. I was even shocked that she was the one to point that out. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, wow. Out of all the women here, it was that one that picked out, he only dates white women. Mm-hmm. Found that interesting. And so then to have this conversation, my first issue was the way she asked him. Mm-hmm. She comes back from the bathroom, starts the conversation. She was like, yeah, I just want to know, what's Q's preference? Like, you come off like the black guy that just dates white girls. And I was even like, that's not how you ask this question. Understand, y'all, again, I have multiple non-negotiables. This happens to be one of my non-negotiables, if I'm being very transparent with you. I tend to want to date a particular type of Black man. And these are topics that I would want to address the first couple of days. I actually did address in our first date, but I didn't ask you, have you ever dated a white girl, or do you date white girls? There's ways that you ask that question without insulting the other person, because Q was extremely insulted by her even asking him that. And I feel like it was because of the way she did it. She could have just strictly asked without even bringing up the color. It could have been, well, what is your preference? What type of women do you typically date? What's your type? Tell me about your last relationship. There's so many different ways to kind of get information about where they land. And because I prefer to date men that are pro-Black, men that are very secure in their Blackness and Black culture, because that means a lot to me, and that is politically and socially conscious and aware. Because that is important to me, I know exactly what type of questions to ask in the first few days to get those answers without asking you, oh, do you date white girls, or do you, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't even know how to ask the question in a disrespectful way, because I'm just so used to having conversation with people and getting the information that I need with the type of questions that, like, how I ask the questions, right? Like, I felt like this was all the way wrong. This was the wrong road, girl. That was because all she did was shoot herself in the foot, because she found herself in the bottom. Mm-hmm. And she found herself in the bottom because of that comment and because of the question that she asked you. And Morier brought up a very interesting point. Mm-hmm. In the guys' lounge, he was like, he said he is a Black man that is very passionate about his community. He considers himself to be a community activist, and he wants his partner, his woman, to be next to him, fighting that good fight. And he feels like Kira doesn't have an interest to be that person. And I was like, boom, that's the way of basically saying you ain't really down. That's basically how he did that. And I like the way he went about that, because that would be a way that how I would describe it too, without saying exactly what we're trying to get to, and without being very insulting. And I feel like those are ways that you also can find yourself being very anti-Black when having this conversation, like, oh, she's acting white, or she talks white, or all of the very problematic-ish that we say within our community. There are better ways to get your answers. And she didn't go about it the right way. And Morier was the one that actually did the date with her, mm-hmm. to tell her, like, the guys are kind of feeling away. Long story short, Kira did not go home. But she ended up feeling away because she was like, this is probably something that she's experienced her whole life, mm-hmm. with her Blackness, I'm pretty sure, being questioned. I can see that. And she says she's very proud of being a Black woman. She's proud of her Black culture, but is she the one that's on the front lines all the time? She said probably not. Or in those spaces, she said probably not. And I could tell that she felt a way about it, because I know this isn't the first time that this has been brought up to her.
And she made a comment too, saying that, once getting back to the group, that she really wants to recommunicate some things, try to clear up some things.
Yeah.
And just so the guys have a better understanding where she's coming from.
Right.
And hopefully she gives them more context about her past and,
right.
Just past situations, maybe how she grew up. Maybe that'll give the guys more context.
I think so too. And I think that she has not taken the opportunity to do that up until now. She has a very bubbly personality. I told y'all I kind of like Kira. I'm like here with her. But like I said, she has a great personality. You can tell that she loves to communicate. And so, yes, allow them to get to know you.
Yeah.
Because if that isn't the reality of who you are, say exactly who you are, what you believe in, what you like, your culture, where you're from. Talk about you. And then that's going to give the guys all the answers that they need.
Well, hopefully this gives her a boost to be more vocal.
Yeah.
And show herself more.
Yeah.
And so, as we just mentioned, Kira was in the bottom 2, and of course she was on the bottom 2 with Unique. And Unique did end up going home.
Mm-hmm.
As a result of the guys felt like she was not really ready for anything at this time due to, I guess, her past relationship. They felt like she hasn't really healed and just felt like this wasn't for her.
Yeah. Yeah. Not shocked. But I wish Unique the best. She'll be fine. And continue your healing, girl. And I really hope you're in therapy. I promote therapy.
But we appreciate y'all joining us for another episode of Reality Check TV.
Yes.
Ready to Love comes back again Friday. We're going to watch it. We're going to review for you guys as always. Do you have a goodbye message for our viewers?
Make sure you are dropping in the comments what shows you would like to see next. We are debuting a new show this week, so watch out for our next review. We ain't going to tell you what it is just yet.
And y'all don't forget to continue to like and subscribe. Share our channel with your friends, family, colleagues, anybody. Okay. But as y'all know, it's summertime. Continue to drink that water and stay out these streets. It's hot. Be on the sidewalk.
Yes. Bye.